Hello, gentlemen. Nice to see you
Hello.
all. I'm
Hello.
uh, I'm refreshing my chat here because I want to make sure that we're not experiencing the same challenges that we had last week with some very unique double tracking. I know that people don't like to admit how much they like it when all of their podcast hosts are being heard in double, but we gave it to you anyway. And we want to make sure that today, although we love it, we sincerely love it when we double track. We want to make sure that it's a pleasurable listening experience for all. So if you're in the comments, if you're watching live, please do tell us. We did some tests leading up to the
Yes, please.
podcast today to ensure that we had resolved all of these challenges due to an update with the software that undid some previous settings, which we thought were locked in. But hopefully that works out nicely and it's sounding good and we're looking good. As always, everybody's wearing a hat or a beanie, or as Grant calls it, some other word I don't use in this part of North America. What's it called?
It's a toque, Mason.
Toque. Yeah,
Toque.
we don't even know what that word is.
No one does.
No one does.
Even
Not even the
Canadians.
Canadians.
No. We've just been told this is what it's called, and we don't ask questions. We just move on.
I'm guessing it's
Love
cold
that.
there.
It's
cold
a little
there, right?
chillier now. I'm downstairs, and this is the only room in the house that doesn't have heat. So I have a little oil heater in the off camera, trying to get this room a bit warmer. But yeah, it's a little chillier now up here in Vancouver. But I'm also
Wow.
I'm just a big softie, so it's probably like tanning weather for most people. But for me, I'm cold.
I
Well,
love
Grant is
like
very
this weather.
lean. He's very
Yeah.
lean, and as a consequence, he has he's in basically an uninsulated home. You know,
Hmm.
it's cold in there.
Exactly. I'm basically a real life version of Groot from Marvel.
Well, that's right,
Yeah.
right. Well, I'm
Perfect.
very well insulated because of the intermittent feasting that I've been doing, which has been a great. It's been a really great plan. I'll tell you all about it later. Um, but today we're going to be talking about something that I always am in admiration of companies that I feel like fit this bill, which is the idea of timeless guitar pedals. And by that we mean guitar pedals that have withstood the test of time. And just to kind of give you an arbitrary number, let's say companies that have been around maybe 10 years or more, and products that they make are sort of still in the conversation despite being a decade or more older. And we're still seeing used over and over and over again on pedal boards, and they still remain kind of part of the zeitgeist of the industry. And I know that for each of us, there's certainly going to be some overlap on that Venn diagram. And then in other cases, maybe we'll have some surprise picks that maybe catch a few people off guard. But just to kind of get a calibration for all of the viewers and listeners out there, what's going to kind of be your individual criteria for how you maybe talk about some of these devices without revealing what they are yet? What is kind of the way that you think of this term when I say timeless guitar pedals? I know I gave my interpretation of kind of being a decade or more old and still kind of being part of the conversation and seen in lots of boards. Does this mean something slightly different to you, Grant or Brian?
I think for myself, as you're talking, I'm thinking like what kind of ticks the boxes for me. Span, absolutely. You can't have a timeless guitar pedal that was released 6 months ago, especially in our industry where most are, they do well for the first 6 months to a year and then they kind of slowly taper off. That's the majority. To stick out beyond that is difficult. When there's so many releases, so much gear. But I would say something I would add to that, or something that will be crossing my mind today, is a pedal or piece of gear that spans multiple genres. It's not necessarily genre specific. And I think another hint, this might not be a criteria, but another hint is how people talk about it. So, like a tube screamer, for instance, is a pedal we all know and love. I'm not saying it's timeless or not. I don't want to give it away. But a tube screamer, like people use that as a reference point. This is kind of like a tube screamer. It sounds tube screamer-ish. And in my mind, that is a hint towards where this sits in people's minds and how they think about that piece of gear. So how it's talked about and referenced, I think also could lead people towards that. I love the decade or more. I think that's awesome. But I would add kind of multiple genres, and how people communicate or talk about that piece of gear as well.
Yeah, I would say sort of the same line. I think it's just a matter of like, I don't know. There's so many pieces of gear out there that you could say that, but I think it really does come down to like where, like, you know, how do I want to say this? It's like, where can you kind of pinpoint that effect like got well known enough, or it was used on that type of song on an album or whatever? Does that make it a timeless pedal that like it's like that will never go out of style because we've had it for so long and people have kind of, it's like, the first Tube Screamer, everyone kind of cultivated around like their versions of the Tube Screamer. So yeah, I think there's a bunch of different ways it could be categorized and we could nail it down, but I'm excited to dive in for sure.
Awesome. I was just reminding people in the chat to be sure to like. All it requires is that you take your mouse, you move it over to that thumbs up, and you press
right
like.
now.
And you know what? As stupid as that sounds, when a YouTube personality, or really any Z-list celebrity, all the way at the bottom, that helps to get more eyes on. It seems like it's like a dumb thing. Like, how could this possibly help? Well, we're dealing with this thing called the algorithm. And it is a very mysterious thing. But one thing that we do know is the more comments, the more likes that there are, the more that it is likely to shine favorably upon you. And we certainly want the algorithm to do that to us. So if you like this show and you want other people to like it too, this might be an easy way for you to help us out just by doing that simple thing. I want to start again in the way that we kind of did the one of the last episodes, where we kind of went sort of like food group by food group in maybe talked about the pedals that exist within that framework that are really timeless. And I don't think we should be restricted necessarily by budget. Some of these picks may be higher on the budget spectrum. Some of them may be lower or mid budget. But I think it's really more about things that have withstood the test of time and that they are still in use despite being, again, 10 plus years older. They're used over and over and over again, and we still see them pervasive. So if we're going to start first with, let's say, impedance-sensitive devices, wahs, treble boosters, fuzzes, univibes, these type of effects, where are you guys seeing things that recur over and over and over again despite being 10 or more years old on pedal boards? And thinking less about models, like overarching models like a fuzz, like specific fuzzes, specific univibes, specific treble boosters, if there are any, and maybe there aren't for you. But let's go through and do that exercise. Brian or Grant, take it away.
Brian?
I would say the Crybaby Wall. I know someone mentioned it already too. It was a thought I had.
Any particular incarnation of the Crybaby Wall? I know there's like a billion models now.
Yeah, there's so many of them. It's their most generic one. I can't remember the number.
The GBC95 or something like that, or
yeah, it's a really long, that one. In the honestly, the Budawa, I see that one come up a lot. I saw that one a lot from Andy Timmons, but also like after I saw it from him one time, it seemed like I just kept seeing it, and I was just like, is it like, I don't use wah? I'm like, is it, is it good? And everyone's like, oh my gosh, yeah, it's the best one out there. And I'm like, okay, that's like, it's been around forever. And I mean, it looks like it doesn't look newer. It's definitely, when you open it up on the inside, it's very much point to point, like hand soldered and everything. So I don't know the history much on it. I just hear a lot about those.
Oh, it's PCB. Well, it's PCB, like the Dunlop. Yeah, it was made, but Dunlop was the manufacturer of it, but Buddha, it was sold through Buddha. And so it shares a lot of commonalities with kind of the typical Crybaby thing. There were some upgrades, of course, and I think that they used I can't remember if there's a Halo or a Stack of Dime style inductor. It has a little mu metal can over it. So there were some like upgrades that were different than what you would see from Dunlop at the time. They were all into that phasal wah inductor, in a lot of the crybabies at that time. So this is a little different. But I agree with you. That's a really great one. Any others, Brian, in like the fuzz treble booster univibe category that you see over and over and over again?
I don't know the name of it, so you guys will have to help me because I'm
describe it.
Out of fuzz. It's a little blue.
How does it smell?
It smells old and dusty.
It's a little blue what?
Circular fuzz
face.
Yes.
The original was not so little as well. It was like
it was a huge one. Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah,
which is crazy. I've seen. I would say like So I've seen those, ironically enough, which are always a very interesting pedal to have to kind of put on a board and figure out how like it's gonna like lay out properly and stuff. I probably have done like 5 or 6 rigs in the past year with that one on it, and a lot of times people are like, "Man, it's a great size because it's the smaller one. It's not the massively large plate one." But
it still doesn't help, does it?
The frustrating thing. The circuits are so small in those things.
Does it really help when you have the mini fuzz face, though? I mean, I'm really curious. Like, I always thought, like, because it's smaller, it didn't really help because, like, you still are almost having to plan a pedal that is, like, its maximum width and then the depth of, I don't know. It just seemed like you basically were planning on, like, a 1590 BB, yeah.
Yeah,
that maybe wasn't quite as deep.
But it's a great way to practice your circular cable channels, which, let's be honest, we all need more practice in that front. So
do you use those? You use the special cable to the anchors, right? The curved ones, right?
You have to.
I call them the
3D
moon.
print them. Yeah.
The
FF anchor.
Yeah. They're nuts.
Yeah.
No, do you guys when you guys usually do them? I would either use straight in because it's a little easier to get out of it that way, or you have to use the right angle and kind of like put a pretty big service loop on it to kind of get the brake angle to be right.
Yeah, I think it depends where depends on where it's at. Like when I put it on boards, it was like in the corner, so I was able to utilize like a pancake cable and just like
I've done pancakes as well.
Yeah, I would do like the loop back method that we've all done. So like it passes by and then it loops back. It was mainly for like if they swapped it out for something side jack mounted or top jack mounted, they had the excess slack. Because when you start using straight connectors, then you're kind of tied to those. So I've just in the past just stuck to the pancake stuff, and they actually come out pretty. It comes out pretty clean. Everything, the jacks aren't too close, unlike some other companies. They put like the jack and the 2 jacks and the power jack like literally like on top of each other. Like those are very difficult.
If you want a real challenge, use one of those Roger Mayer Octavias that are shaped like a spaceship. Those are boy. I would just rehouse them. It was better just to rehouse them. And even with some of the fuzz faces, especially in the early days, a lot of the 90s Dunlop fuzz faces were basically almost all, it was a socketed jack. The foot switch was on a PCB that had a socket. They would then go like the main PCB, and I think the pots were loose, and that you could just chassis mount them. And so I used to just put them in a 1590 BB enclosure because it was just easier to deal with it on a pedal board in that way. Just so much simpler and there wasn't really, they weren't considered that valuable at the time, even though a lot of those old ones used like the, famous NKT 275 transistor that people get really worked up about. I want to say one thing about that, if you guys will indulge me. People get too, this is for all you guys. You guys get too bent out of shape around the numbers of these transistors. And these numbers were just a sorting mechanism. It was just a way to say, if it had this number, if it said BC108, it was likely to have like this range of gain. If it was a BC 109, it was likely to have this range of gain. But those ranges had a lot of overlap. So really the number that you should be paying attention to is the gain, not the number. And you could have a wide range of BC 108s that are like all over the place. And if you're at one end of the range, it could sound totally different than another end of the range. And so you might actually like something that has more overlap with the BC 109, but the one that you have says BC 108, but it's like on one extreme. I think that that whole thing got, I don't know who was responsible for it, but
this is
I
also
think that
a good time to mention this episode is sponsored and brought to you by Big Transistor.
Big Transistor,
I'd
yep.
bring that up now. Yeah.
Big Transistor, and they have their fingers in a lot of pots, you know.
Exactly.
They've been able to do it covertly for many years, but we're here to out
They
them.
own all the forums. They own the media around all these big forums. Yeah.
Have you guys ever had to deal with I had to Google it because I forgot the name of it. It was a really odd size enclosure. The JMI treble booster. It's like this.
What about it?
Really long
Oh,
pedal.
yeah.
I've had to do like those in the past, or some of the what's his name? Cornish. I've done some Cornish stuff like that where the enclosure sizes are just like absolutely insane.
Bless his heart, he just loves big enclosures.
There was a time as well where it seemed like you had this inverse correlation between the size of the PCB and the enclosure. The smaller the PCB, the bigger the box needed to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And
It's like the
some of these
Amazon
fuzzes,
method.
they're like
It was
8,
exactly what I was thinking, where you get like
you got like a
It's like
fridge-sized
AirPods.
box.
Thank you, Pete
AirPods are
Cornish.
like this massive.
Pete Cornish trained all the Amazon packing people at the
Oh.
warehouse. He's like, okay, it's this big. You're
Yep,
going to need a
that's
box
it.
that's this big.
At least 3 times this big. Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
It gets me every time. I bought a pack of picks, some Dunlop picks. I just needed some last minute, and I got it, and it is massive, like 30 by like it was like a poster box, and I was like, "Who ordered the poster?" I opened it up. I was like, "Oh,
You got 2 picks in there. Yeah.
And I was like, a package of picks. It was stupid.
Boy. Well, I think we've spent a lot of time on on the buzz face. Are there other ones, Grant, that you would mention in that category of impedance sensitive?
I don't think you can go past, and I'm not going to give you any model numbers because I don't know them, but you can't go past a Big Muff as well. I would also probably throw in, and I think I'm probably biased because I just really like the pedal, but I still see ZVEX fuzz factories pop up on rigs, and I love that Velcro style fuzz, and the fuzz factory does it well in a small enclosure, I might add. And so yeah, Big Muff, fuzz factory, treble boosters are out of my wheelhouse, so I can't help you there. But
I don't think that there are many that I can think of that are sort of like recurring things that, you know, I think it's already kind of a fringe effect.
It is.
Yeah. I'm going to say Fuzz Face 2 is still widely utilized, and if I were to go kind of another degree of separation, probably the Analog Man Sunface. It is still a fuzz face, but is very prominent still on pedalboards. Wah-wah, of course, the crybaby, but if I were to go sort of, again, another layer deep on that, I think that the Robert Bradshaw Custom Audio Electronics one is really highly utilized, especially on kind of more boutique boards. I think it's one of the most versatile wah-wah pedals ever made. It has switchable inductors. It's got a boost. And Bradshaw was basically modifying crybabies like this for decades, and then they kind of, I'm sure, approached him and said, can we just do a wah that sort of already includes sort of the canon of, you know, mods that you would offer. Yeah. So I think that that's a fantastic one that I still see a lot of. A treble booster, as I said, I don't think that there's a recurring theme there that we see over and over and over again. I think in the Univibe space, certainly the full tone Deja Vibe. I think that is still very prominent. and was one of the early guys to the Univibe game as far as reissuing high quality replicas. Dunlop also did some. I don't think they were as good, but I think that he kind of came out with the first one that was really authentic. And one trick for people that don't like Deja vibes, the trick to getting them to sound good is you have to max out the LFO, because they kind of make it a little more tame so that it works better long term, right? Because you max it out, you're shortening the life of the LFO. But if you do that and you max it out, it really does sound much better. It's a much better sounding thing, and it's kind of one of those things, right? If you're shortening its life, but it's going to have a very good life. It's partying all day long, and burning the candle at both ends. It's the Charlie Sheen of Univibe pedals, as I learned through this recent documentary. And so if you do that, it's going to sound incredible. And I mean, I don't know that it's going to shorten the life for most people in a way that it's going to die under their watch. But I think they're still really well made. I think there are better sounding ones now, but I think that is still like just a rock solid Univibe. And if you can find one of the early ones, like the bigger ones, V1s, those are fantastic. Yeah. The gold one or a white one, those are fantastic. The realer, I'm not talking about the ones that are kind of like this big. I'm talking about the ones that are like, I'm trying to think of, it's closer to this. It's not as big as an original Univibe, but it's closer to that size. That may mean nothing to some people, so I'm sorry, but it's large. It's probably 10 or 12 inches wide. It's huge.
That's crazy.
So we talked about that. That was impedance-sensitive. Let's kind of maybe move on to sort of, I think we can omit tuners for this. I think we can omit buffers for this. I think we should just stick with pedals. If we're going to sort of more like dynamic pedals, compressors, sort of octaves, filter effects, any that show up to you as a recurring theme these days, Brian or Grant?
I feel like I'm going to repeat myself from last week a little bit here, but I remember before, and I'm going to be a bit blanking here on years, but before the Compact, the Cali 76 Compact was released, they had the big one. Again, we're talking almost dinner plate size compressor here with was it the Lundahl Transformer as one of the upgrades? And these things were gorgeous and they sounded so good. But we would get those big Cali 76 compressors on builds quite often. Then they came out with the compact versions. And obviously, I still get those on the boards all the time. So as far as timeless, I would personally, and destroy me in the comments if you must, absolutely put this on a timeless list, just because they've been consistent for well over, doing the math here, for me on builds, well over 14 years. They have been consistent. 13 years.
Origin's been around that long?
Yeah, I think I was trying to look up some stuff here. 2012, right. The Cali was released. I assume that's the big one.
Yeah.
And we've had them on builds ever since then, right from the get-go, consistently. So 13 years. So I would put that on there for compressor. I still get Dynacomps. I still get diamond yellow compressors. They I don't know. I really enjoy all of those as well. I think they all do a great job. What about you, Brian?
For octave, obviously you get the EHX, the POG.
It's a beautiful one.
Yeah, that's a fantastic
all day.
More,
all day.
More the micros, more micros than nanos.
Are you getting POG 3s, Brian?
Haven't had a single POG 3. Haven't had a.
I think we've had one.
Yeah, I've had one Pico POG. But
micro POG and POG 2 all day. I'll die on that hill.
Yep.
I have a POG 2 on a build. A guy had it rehoused for all black. It's an all blacked out board. and it
That
looks
one would
really
be
cool.
a pain in the butt to black out.
The sliders. Yeah, man.
Did he
Yeah,
just have it repainted, or did he actually have a new enclosure made?
Whoever the company is that did it, it looks like it looks like they repainted.
Wow, and
Probably
silk
sandblasted
screened it
it out and
also.
repainted.
What a pain.
I mean, it looks cool. Yeah, I don't know who did it. There's no sticker on it.
Do you guys get that, by the way? I know a couple guys that will do thematic. I know, Brian, if you can't say, or Grant, if you can't say, because it would implicate one of your customers, let me do the implications. But guys that build pedal boards strictly based on color.
We have enough problems as it is right now based on that theme. Yeah, no, it is. I feel like it was really popular. I don't know, Brian, if you would agree, but I feel like it had a bit of a peak maybe 3 years ago. Maybe it was during COVID when people had a bit more money. I don't know, but I got a lot.
Or they were just bored out of their minds. Let's see if I can build an all-black pedal board.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can build an all-white pedal board.
If you're scrolling on Instagram and you see like a blacked out pedal board, it looks cool. Like you stop and you check it out, like, oh, what'd they pick, and what would I've changed if I didn't have that requirement of having to have a all white pedal board, all pink, all black, whatever it is. I always stop and check them out, but I could never do that for myself because I love a colorful pedal board. I like picking my pedals based on merit rather than on just the color themselves.
Yeah, no,
this is going to take a turn here.
I get them too. I get them occasionally. I think if you're gonna do an all blacked out board or whatever, like the way I think my wife saw it, she's like, "Oh, that's cool." That's ironic that all the pedals came. I'm like, well, no, a bunch of these are rehoused. Like they had them rehoused or Rogue rehousing in Dallas did a bunch of these for this guy here, and they look really cool. There was a kilt. A V1 kilt that was rehoused for blackout. There was a Superbolt blacked out. Like it's expensive. That's the thing is like, for me, I don't give a rip about them all being the same color because that's just more extra money. It's this type of, and if you have the money and you have the budget, go ahead and do it. But the thing is this is if you're going to, and I'm not naming anyone. It happened years ago. I just want to preface this. I had someone haggle me over a $20 difference, and it was like something. Yeah, rip. It was like a $20 difference. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm just trying to save the money." And then like eventually, I saw him post it, and he had it completely like rehoused. And I was like, "Man, I know that rehouse cost you practically what you paid for it from me." So like, I think people that like are doing rehousing aren't really worried about the money, or they want all blacked out theme boards. Like GFI did a blacked out Tempest. That's cool. You can go buy the Strymons, where you used to be able to buy the Strymons blacked out, and they did the limited run. Like the Mara stuff black, like it's cool, but for me, I don't. I'm sorry, that was a big ramble to say I don't care about it. Like
and sorry to all the kids out there for Brian's language there.
Yeah, sorry.
We'll try and
rip.
calm things down here as we move forward.
Yep.
But as far as so I would say the Micropog, the old school Boss, Octave, OC2,
probably OC.
The newer ones,
3 or 5.
Yeah, not even the new ones. I see less new ones than I see old one. It's kind of like, getting a Boss TR2. It's kind of like that. Like people are buying that pedal distinctly because they love that sound, and it's like, well, there's other stuff out there. And it's like, oh, I don't want to worry about MIDI, schmitty, like that kind of stuff. Like I don't care about it. So,
again, sorry about the language.
Yeah,
I don't know what's gotten into this guy today.
Cool out, Brian.
I'm about to have my wife's literally about to go into labor any day now. So
oh no way!
It's literally lucky I'm even doing the podcast today.
Yeah, make
she goes,
sure
I might
that
walk in.
If you have Brian names for Brian suggestions, it's still up in the air right now. Number 1 is Proco Rat.
In Ibanez.
So,
Actually, Fat Sea Turtle just commented in the comments here.
Oh,
rehousing the Rat, which just that first. I know I'm not reading your whole comment here, but that reminded me of a board. Speaking of gigantic enclosures, we did a pedal board for someone in Australia, and they had a rehoused rat in a Batmobile, and the Batmobile was a little bit bigger than a wah, like a standard wah enclosure.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the hopefully first and last time that will ever occur, because that was the same issue we've been talking about this whole time, about gigantic.
Now, the Batmobile, was it like a Batman Forever Batmobile? Batman
it was
Begins?
like 90s Batmobile. 90s. Yeah.
Early 90s? Are we talking Michael Keaton Batmobile?
Now I don't know.
Val Kilmer?
Thinking, who's the next Batman after Kilmer?
Clooney, I think.
It was a Clooney Batmobile.
Clooney.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
That was like that was the Arnold Schwarzenegger era. That was embarrassing.
Yeah, Iceman.
It's hard to watch now, even.
Yeah.
You feel it's like when you watch a struggling performer on American Idol. It's kind of how it feels when you watch those.
Yeah, the end is coming.
Are they
going to
land?
Just make
Are they
going to
land it?
Yeah, yeah. And they rarely do. That plane usually crashes, which is why people watch. In part, it's entertaining.
Yeah. Love it. Well, so for me, on the compressor front, I feel like SP compressor from Exotic, that thing has been highly utilized. I think I agree with you that all the incarnations of the Origin Effects Cali 76 have been certainly part of the conversation for the better part of 10 years. I think the Diamond compressor certainly was that. You could make an argument that it sort of fell off as Diamond sort of ceased to exist in the last, 5 to 8 years.
Keeley comp in the comments from
Keeley
Ryan
compressor,
Day.
absolutely. The 2 and 4 knob in particular, just absolutely pervasive.
Like
and I think Brian Wampler's Ego compressor equally, very,
what
very
about the
prominent.
Pulp and Peel? What about the Pulp and Peel from JHS?
I think
been
less.
For a while.
Yeah.
They've
not
been
as much
around, but I don't
recently.
think that they ever had the same pervasiveness as the ones that we mentioned.
I agree.
In terms of octave, I agree with the Pog, the Micro Pog 2. Pretty unbeatable still to this day.
What about the Hog? What about the Hog? Ever
nope.
have the Hog? Nope.
Nope.
At one time.
Not high on the Hog. And Boss, OC2. In the 5, I think those are still very prominently used. I think that would kind of be where I'd go with it. Now, somebody did complain about us not including tuners, so we're gonna indulge that person. Ryan Day, we're gonna do it for you, just for you, because you asked. We're gonna do it. Okay, I'm gonna say this: the best Well, I'm confusing that. I shouldn't be saying best. I should just be saying timeless. For saying timeless, it's got to be the TU Boss. The TU2 probably is the most pervasive because it's been around longer than the TU3. Probably the TC Electronic, but that's not an endorsement of them being best. I think that they're just the most timeless. I wouldn't say they're the best tuners. If I was saying best, I'd say Sonic Research, Peterson.
Sonic Research has been around for a while. Hey,
they have, but I don't think that they're like that prominent. I think I maybe told a story here where I put a Sonic Research on 4 identical NAMM demo pedal boards, and people didn't understand what to do with it. They're like, "This tuner doesn't work."
That makes sense.
And so it's not for people who have never experienced a strobe tuner. They look at it and they're like, "Oh my god, I've got vertigo," and but in any case,
they're quick, lightning fast reaction,
very
fast, awesome.
Very fast, and they sound good. Although I will say an interesting aside on this, JD Simo, who is a fantastic guitarist, and I've seen him fairly recently in San Francisco. And we were talking about tuners, and he was saying that he can tell the difference in bypass switch on different tuners and how they affect the sound. And he did this test with Exactone, with Barry at Exactone. And then I separately, a few weeks later, was in Nashville, and I talked to Barry about this. And he said that blind tested that JD could tell the difference between the different tuners and came to the conclusion that the best tuner in terms of not how well it tunes, right? They all tune to a decently, like you're going to be roughly in tune whether you use a Boss or a TC or whatever.
Yeah.
But he was saying the sonic impact of just having the tuner there, whether it was true bypass or not, there is some impact that he can hear even if it's a relay switch true bypass. The only one that didn't affect the sound were the ones with the butt contact mechanical switches. So like the hard 3-pole double throw switches, which there's only 2 really that are out there. One of them is the hideously ugly Peterson Strobo Stomp 1 and 2s that sort of look like a Batmobile if your guy ever wanted to
the big
find
silver one, right?
There's a silver one, and then the precursor to that was a blue one. And they use those they use mechanical switches. And the other one is the Diodario. Diodario uses a 3-pole double throw mechanical butt contact switch for theirs. And those were the only ones where he didn't hear a difference. I thought that was really interesting. Just something for you to know about.
Can I put a thought out there? Maybe you know the answer to this, Mason. My first thought when I hear that is I'm very curious if the tuner was first in the chain. Not after
I think they were only I think what they did is they were only testing tuners. They didn't have any. They were just testing tuners, like I think in a true bypass strip or something like that, and just bringing them in bypass and just bringing them in at one at a time. And he could tell which one was the mechanical bypass.
It's very impressive.
I know. I don't know that I could, but he apparently has those ears, and he's amazing. I think he was, when we were talking, he was telling me about that Bruce Springsteen movie that's coming out with the guy who was in, what's the name of the chef movie or TV series, The Bear. He was working with that guy to get him to be legit on the guitar. He was his guitar counselor to make it look like he really knew what he was doing when he's Bruce Springsteen. Anyway, and I think he also did that also for the Bob Dylan movie as well. I think he was part of that team of people to make them into legitimate guitar players. So shout out to JD if he's listening. If we're going past tuners, we talked about dynamic pedals. Let's get into overdrives. There should be a lot of stuff in here. Timeless overdrive pedals that we still see time and again, 10 years removed from their release date or more. What are you guys seeing over and over and over again?
Do we have a few days here to talk about this?
I know, seriously.
Let's try to maybe limit it to 3 to 5. Let's just say per person. Well, and I won't rehash if you already say it. How about that? So in that way we don't have redundancy.
Brian, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, someone already said that Timmy. That was going to be one of my first ones. Timmy and ODR1. I would say those are 2.
Yeah, Nobles is. I definitely thought OCD as well. Drew, Ryan, ODR1.
Yeah, exactly. What's crazy enough is that, and it always comes back around because I'll just see it somewhere, like someone's just tucked it on a board. Is even the blues driver from Boss, even those, like Andy swears by the blues driver. I mean, I know he has his own signature pedals, but at his house, I think he has probably 20 or 30 of them, sitting up on shelves, just different various models. And
he's got a problem.
I mean, there's so many pedals. It's like Josh Scott's wall of pedals and stuff. It's just, I would say those 3 for sure. Another one I feel is the Full Drive 2 from Full Tone. I see that one pop up. I'll get people occasionally, and a lot of times they'll be like, hey, how can we put this in a rack? I put it in a rack. How can I switch both sides? And for the longest time, I was like, there's not a way to do it until the oscillator devices guys that you showed me for your mini mod stuff. They have a little foot switch that is a triple pole double throw foot switch, but it can be programmed
on a jack.
To.
Yeah, it's
No, it's a MIDI. It's a foot switch.
Oh.
So you can put it in a switching system, but leave the loop locked always on, and then you have MIDI. You have to buy 2, one for each side, but then you can MIDI turn on just the boost or just the overdrive side, which I think
on the boost side, it's not. Isn't it just? It's not a full you have to have on the overdrive circuit for the boost to work on the Full Drive 2. Is that right? Pretty
Maybe it's
sure.
been just that long. I had the MOSFET version, so I'm not sure if that
It
was
may
a
be
little
that
bit
it
different
changed over time, but
version.
in the old days, I remember that when you
Yeah.
would rack those, you could basically, I feel like you could facilitate it with a TRS and do the switching that way
Oh,
through
okay.
relay.
That'd be cool.
Because I have this remembrance, I could be wrong, and maybe I'm confusing with something else, where I ended up putting a TRS jack where the foot switch was, and I was able to facilitate the switching through that.
Okay. So like replacing the triple pull double throw with a
Well, I think the
TRS
triple
jack?
pull double throw is only on the on-off switch, because the other one is only adding in a boost. I think it was
Oh,
either
yeah.
a
Oh, that makes
single
sense.
or a double, or a single pull single throw, or a single pull double throw, or a double pull double throw.
That would make
Um,
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah, I would say
if it
those
was
ones,
a
yeah.
separate circuit in the later versions, then it probably was another triple pull double throw. And in that case, you could just put another set of, you could put a TRS jack, I suppose, and that would
Mhm.
be your in and out, but you just still have to just treat it as another loop.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen that one come through a lot. Even the version of the full drive where it's like the condensed version. I'm doing it like off screen, but it's like the condensed. It looks just like a normal size pedal.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen those ones come through, and I don't. Someone said the light speed. I would say yes. I don't know if that's over 10 years old though.
It's
Let me
probably
check.
close if it's not.
It's close. It's a really good one. Um,
It is
Has a
consistent.
lot in common with the Timmy.
very. Yeah. Yeah, Timmy's great. I've had the Timmy a couple times and sold it. and regretted
2013.
it. Okay. Wow. Yeah. Just over the hill of that one. 10 years. 12 years.
Yep,
any
that's
for
a good
any
one.
for you, Grant?
Nah.
Any other ones?
No, I would say this one does not meet the 10-year criteria. Well, the Lightspeed did, but this one was released, I looked it up, in 2018. But it has been so consistent ever since it's been released. I want to put it out there as the Brown Protein. All of its versions
Yeah.
from when it was released until now. That's saying something for an overdrive. That is, in my opinion, probably one of the hardest effects to get into this timeless type category, the Protein. So maybe I'm nominating the Protein for 2028 as a early pick. But Protein, I think, was awesome. Once they did the split version where you could put each side in its own loop in a true bypass strip. Was that V2 or V3? You could then it kind of had another resurgence again, and it just kind of stayed in the front of all these setups that we did. So I put the Protein on there. I did have OCD on my list, especially for me personally. If that's run at 18 volts, that it's more in my neighborhood of being a bit lower gain, higher headroom. Love the OCD. I have never, and this is another one you guys are gonna. I'm just adding to what you're not gonna like me for here, but I have never gotten along with a blues driver. But it's one of those pedals where I hear other people play it, like Andy Timmons. I hear him play it. Like, man, I need to look at getting a blues driver again. This thing sounds awesome. And then I get it. I've never fell in love with a blues driver when I'm the one playing. I'm maybe the problem, but I'm not ready to admit that yet. So I do agree with blues driver. Protein, OCD, TS9, ODR, Noble's ODR1 has either the mini or the full size version has been pretty consistent. I don't want to say King of Tone, although it's been out for well over 10 years. King of Tone has been probably, I'm trying to think if it's been more consistent than a TS9. I don't know if it has, but it's definitely up there. But again, I don't get along with a King of Tone if I'm the one playing it. But if anyone else is playing it, it sounds awesome. And I always second guess myself. But
it's definitely over 10 years old, right?
I think it's 2013.
Okay, that would make sense because I've heard people like, "Yeah, I've been on the wait list for 6 years." I'm like,
yeah, I've been on the wait list for 22 years.
That's unbelievable. I've been on since day one. I'm like, Lord,
yeah.
That's just nuts.
Yeah.
No.
Sorry, I was way off. I was getting it mixed up with another pedal I looked up. 2003.
Oh, that
was the
makes more sense.
original release, and then 4-knob version in 2005.
22 years.
My bad, guys. Apologies.
Yeah.
Zen Drive's another good one too.
Yeah, I see that. Zen Drive is a good one. I mean, Hotcakes, I think I don't know that I would say that I see them that often anymore.
Yeah.
comparatively to some of the other ones we've said. I think Rad is still pretty common. Certainly
Hard to
maybe
put on a
list.
board,
Certainly
though.
the Tube Screamer. Certainly, I don't know that you could say Klon. It's more of its derivatives, or its replicas that we see more often. We don't actually end up seeing a lot of real Klons on people's pedal boards, but I don't know. As like a category, I suppose that would be true. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I'm looking at. I think that pretty much covers the big stuff.
I don't know if we can. How do you guys feel about a pedal that is spoken of, but not used, but probably spoken of almost as much as the Klon? I don't know if that can make it on the category here, but
what
the
would that
Boss
be?
Metal Zone would be probably the most meme-worthy Overdrive in existence. I mean, people dress up as a Metal Zone for Halloween, for God's sake. Like that's an Overdrive pedal right there.
That's it.
So I don't know. I'm sure, like, just as people were starting to forget about the Metal Zone, I just brought it back up again. I apologize, but that's an outlier, one that is spoken of and maybe not used as much. But I actually, as a total side note, and then I'll stop talking about it. And Michael, I'm blanking on his last name, Canadian guy, very good YouTuber, does demo videos and all this. He did a Klon, in air quotes, a Klon demo video. Had a Klon on screen, all this, and then obviously halfway through he reveals that he was playing a Metal Zone the whole time. And you're listening to it, you're looking at it, your eyes are tricking you. You're like, it sounds like a really good Klon. And then he pulls it away. And so it proved to me that you can get some really low gain, good sounds out of the Metal Zone. I don't know if I'm brave enough to do that myself, but I think it actually is, if you know how to control the EQ settings, of which there are many. If you know how to control that pedal, you actually can get some really good sounds out of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Timeless, probably not. Not in the right way, at least.
All right, let's continue on with maybe kind of getting into boost, EQs, maybe some volume pedals, modulation, delay, reverb. But before we do that, we need a break to talk about some of the sponsors that make this podcast possible every single week. And by supporting the sponsors, many of which actually carry some of the devices that we've been talking about today, you are in turn supporting us. It keeps the ball rolling, makes sure that we're able to put out good quality content every single week for you. So if you like what we're talking about, if you need some pedalboard supplies, if you need some pedals, if you want to check out some great plugins, we highly recommend that you check out our sponsors. You'll get to save a little money using our discounts, and in turn, it will help us out. We'll be right back in just a moment. We will get right back to the episode, but before we do, I want to tell you about one of the sponsors that makes this podcast possible every single week. It is our friends over at the Guitar Sanctuary in McKinney, Texas. Now, not only do they have one of the premier guitar stores in all of Texas, but they also have an amazing website where you're able to get practically anything that you hear us talking about during any Chairman of the Boards episode, whether it's boutique guitars, amps, pedals, or more mainstream brands. They have it all there, and they have the service and staff to make it happen. So head over to our friends over at the Guitar Sanctuary, guitarsanctuary.com. Tell them the Chairman sent you.
I want to talk about Neural DSP as one of our sponsors. Neural DSP is one of the leading companies in audio plugins as well as modelers on the market. They have units like the Quad Cortex as well as the Nano Cortex and additional plugins that can be utilized on your computer as well as on the Quad Cortex to meet your musician needs. Last is going to be Mantra that they recently released, which is an amazing vocal tool. If you're not sure if Mantra is right for you, you can utilize their 14-day free trial to test it out. And if you like it, you're welcome to buy it. You can also save a little money by using our code CHAIRMEN to save 30% off on all plugins. If the plugin you want is a brand new plugin, this will not apply as the plugin has to be over 90 days old. So head on over to neuraldsp.com, check out all of the great offerings that they have for you. Save a little money, get better tone, and enjoy playing your gigs worry-free.
If you're listening to this episode halfway through building your pedal board, you need to check out Bestronix, also known as BTPA. this is the place to go to get all of the remaining plugs, jacks, cable, maybe even patch bays or looms to help you finish building your rig and building it the right way the first time. Brad at Bestronix is here to help you guys find the right parts for your unique pedal board and to also get you these parts at a discount. Use the code DACHAIRS, DACHAIRS, to get 10% off your order at btpa.com. Tell them the chairman sent you.
Very nice.
All right. So you got to hear a little from our sponsors. We certainly appreciate you hanging out and listening. That, again, by helping them, it helps us. And also, if you want to help us, that doesn't cost you a dime, reviewing us on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, that's absolutely great. Subscribing to the channel helps us greatly. Leaving a comment, giving us a thumbs up. Every little bit counts. Again, we're trying to get the algorithm to shine favorably upon us, and all those things in turn help. So let's get on to boosts and EQs. We'll lump those together in a pile and maybe talk about it. I would say it's no surprise the GE7 is still widely used to this day. That is still a staple on so many rigs. I think that if I had to pinpoint any EQ, that's certainly got to be in the conversation. I don't even know that I would say that there's an equal to it in terms of EQ. Boost-wise, EP Booster, been around forever, still widely used. RC Booster, been around for 20 years almost, maybe more.
Such a great pedal.
Still in use to this day, very, very popular boost pedal. Keeley Katana, still very widely used. Thank you, John Mayer. That is still widely in circulation over 10 years later. I think those are all kind of good picks as far as the boosts are concerned. Brian or Grant, any to add in the boost EQ category? I was going to say Source Audio, but I don't think that's been 10 years. But that does show up a lot.
Yeah, I wouldn't put that in the timeless category yet, but it is very good.
Or the Empress Pair EQ is another one I thought of, but I don't think that's been around for 10 years either.
You know which boost was released in 2014? Mason, you should know this one. It's a little close
I think
home.
I know what you're talking about.
The Vertex boost and the MK2 in 2021, if Google is correct. I don't quite trust AI yet, but this feels about right.
That sounds right. Ish.
The Vertex boost shows up on a lot of boards. I do like with the Vertex boost, and there's other similar ones, even using an EQ as a boost as well. I like how it just boosts the signal. So if I just want my existing tonal characteristics of my guitar to be leveled up a little bit, then as a clean boost, that's a great way to go. I'm trying to think of other ones that would be in that timeless category.
Yeah,
there's a lot of new pedals, but
RC Booster.
RC Booster.
We mentioned RC.
That.
Yeah,
I like putting the RC Booster early in my chain, and the EQ on the RC Booster, the treble and the bass, is super powerful, and it's a really good sound. It's one of those pedals where I intend on turning it on for a little bit, and then after I hear it and I turn it back off, it's like, oh, my guitar sounds terrible now. So it stays on all the time, and I absolutely love it. Vertex boosts. I mean, it hits the 10-year thing. It's been consistent, the version 1 and then the version 2 for me on builds. I'm a big fan of that. RC Booster is definitely up there for me as well. EQs, I have no idea what I'd say other than the GE7 as timeless.
Yeah, there's not a lot. Somebody mentioned the MXR, and I guess that's been around that long. It used to be black before it was silver, but I didn't see a lot of. I wouldn't say I saw it in the volume of GE7s.
Yeah.
What about you, Brian? Any boosts or EQs to add to that?
Grant mentioned the Vertex. I mean, just to be completely honest, I saw someone post something today. He had a bunch of extra like pedals, and he's like laying them out. He's like, "Which would you pick?" And there was a V1 version of that boost from you, and I love it. I had that one, and the the silver enclosure, and then I had one for a short period of time, a red enclosure. And I just like the size of it. It's such a comfortable size. It sounds great, and the TRS quarter-inch jack is just really handy. I mean, the eighth inch option for the newer version is also really great. And I've seen some very interesting ways that people have actually utilized that pedal to like run like a send and return to like their wet effects with it, and then they go out of that pedal as like their last out, which was a really interesting idea. Um, but yeah, I mean the Vertex boost, the RC boost, I know we've already said it. EQ, I besides the GE7, you know anything over 10 years, I've seen the Para EQ.
That's in the comments.
I
Yeah.
don't even know if that's over 10,
Yeah, it
but
looks like it's over 10.
Para EQ, the Para EQ, I've definitely had that one on a reoccurring client's board. I mean, there's new stuff out there now, but I remember having a 10 band MXR EQ and had absolutely no idea how to use it. Like, I think I probably will do this just for kicks and giggles, is I'll probably go back and try to recreate the board I had when I first started, because I had a bunch of crap on there that I never used. Like, I had um, the
Was it just the
Hardwire
Digitech?
Overdrive. Huh?
Oh,
No,
sorry, I thought
that
it
was
just
that.
the Digitech.
No, so I had the Digitech, which I've in the past learned that yes, it is possible to get a decent sound out of it. But like I had, the 10 band EQ, I had a delay, but it was just these pedals I didn't know. Like I had a T-Rex pedal on there.
The Mud Honey.
No, it was like a mod. It was purple.
Oh
Purple?
yeah, those are
Or
cool.
blue. Like, but I didn't know what these things were. Like, I didn't know how to utilize these things. And playing in a band that was like at that time more like heavy metal, I was not using vibrato. Like I wasn't, or I wasn't heavy metal, but it was definitely a heavier music. So yeah, I mean that I would say those for boosts and EQ. I can't think of anything besides that pair EQ at this moment.
What about volume pedals? Where are you guys sitting on volume pedals? I would say classic's got to be Ernie Ball, has been around forever. Just the standard
As far as
EBVP.
Yeah.
And the Boss FV 500 L and H. I don't know that there's many that are. I don't know how old's the Lele one. Lele. I know that they've
it's
corrected
newer.
my pronunciation of this before, and I apologize. Yeah.
2016.
2016, so they're right on
So
the
we're
cusp. But I
close.
would say the mono volume pedal of theirs, if I had to say another that wasn't a Boss FE 500 or the Ernie Ball VP, it's probably that one.
For a while there, it was the Hilton, but I would say that's not timeless. I haven't seen those in ages as
They
far
said
as
that
consistently.
the DVP one from Dunlop.
Oh yeah,
was
yeah,
2010.
that's true. Yeah, the Dunlop Volume X in those iterations, those are also popular. So there's a few in that conversation.
I definitely would not say. I mean, yes, the Ernie Ball can be timeless, but I would say
But it will
You're
never
gonna
last long
have-
enough to get there. You don't know
Honestly,
how many have gone in its place in the
don't talk
boneyard
about
of
that.
volume
Well-
pedals that are in your garage.
it's funny because if you think about it, yes, is it cheaper to just buy a replacement string kit and change it? Of course it is. Nobody
Yeah.
got time for that.
It's one of those
No,
things you buy
takes
and
so
never
long.
do. It's on the to-do list and you just don't do it.
But here's the
Never.
thing, why? And this is a thing to Ernie Ball. I know that they know that this is a known issue. They know that it's been around for
Fine.
too long. There's no plausible deniability here. We also know that they make a Kevlar string version that's called the MVP. Why aren't just every one of them MVPs at this point? Like, we know the problem. Is it really
There goes
that
their business model.
Yeah, so they're still
well,
selling. It doesn't matter.
maybe it is that the margins on them are that thin that the difference between a few dollar upgrade in the string is consequential. Like, I almost feel like or maybe they're like, hey, the narrative is that you have to replace these they're basically just like disposable volume pedals.
Yeah.
And they're just, I just don't get why they're just not, they know what the solution is to that, and they have a solution for that. Why doesn't that just become the standard? That's my question.
You ask a good question, Mason.
Yeah. So, and again, if big volume, the lobby for big volume pedals, they have, they're influencing our politicians to not put their foot down.
Yeah.
It sounds
all the
like
politicians have Kevlar string bracelets, and they just
yep, and then their voices are on. They got the heel down. They're on mute.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
we gotta fix that.
Yep.
Mr. Ernie, the ball is in your court.
Indeed.
Ooh.
Thank you, Brian.
Yep. He doesn't have the balls. Yeah. Okay, following volume pedals, let's talk modulation, chorus, flanger, phaser, vibrato, tremolo. What do you guys see time and again?
I want to give credit where credit is due. I'm just going back in the chat here. You guys go while I look for this.
I was
Brian,
going to say
you want to start us off right?
Yeah, I mean, someone said CE2, chorus. Are we gonna factor in tremolo into this too? I would say the diamond tremolo. I love the big box diamond. Like I said on the last podcast, I'm a sucker for that big box enclosure of the diamond tremolo.
You get your own tap tempo.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's great. I would say that one for sure. The Dimension C. I mean,
Drew Dunn, first one to say it in the comments earlier in the episode.
So
Dimension
good.
C.
It's the best. Diamond vibrato is really great. I actually, the vibrato stuff is. I've actually always liked. This is just maybe I just haven't found anything out. I'm sure there's other stuff that's even better than this. I've always liked the Emperor from JHS. I always thought that was a really good vibrato chorus pedal.
Is that all? The original was analog as well, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it should be analog, right? It's supposed to be like a Arion, I thought. SCH1.
October 2014 was the first release.
Okay.
Fits the criteria.
Well, I think Brian already mentioned TR2 earlier. I think that's certainly in the conversation for tremolo, classic tremolo that we see over and over and over again. I think the full tone Supatrem was also in that conversation. A lot of people use the earlier versions of that, especially.
I don't really see it at recently. Like in the last few years, I wonder if I've seen a single one.
Yeah, it may partially be, full tone has had a lot of, public black eyes. Which may have people less, but again, not measuring the merits of the man, but the merits of the pedals. That Supatrem is a great pedal. What else is great in terms of? Well, I think we talked about CE2. We talked about Dimension C. I feel like the Walrus Julias had a real good run for a while. I don't see them much in the last few years, but I felt like maybe 5 years ago they were really prominent. Like as far
now
as
there's
analog.
the Juliana, the stereo version.
Stereo.
I definitely see that.
Yeah,
2016 was the first Julia release.
I'm trying to think of other things in the chorus domain that were really prominent.
Is there any chorus or anything like that? Someone says outside. You mean outside of racks? Is there anything rack version even?
Well, I don't think racks are timeless as a whole category of system. So it's hard to have a specific pedal.
That's
timeless.
Like TC, like TC had a TC
and then
rack.
There's Eventide, and there's all this rack gear that's awesome. And so many individual pedals
we could say Mobius as an over. I mean, even though it does all those things as a multi-effect, the Mobius is one of the best-selling modulation devices of its time. And I would even say
if you're going to talk about that, you have to talk about HX Stomp.
I think HX Stomp too, although I think that one disqualifier potentially is that it does beyond modulation, where it is this only does modulation.
True.
The other one that I think is within that category too, I think the Strymon Lex is a hugely popular rotary effect. that probably is got to be one of the best sellers of the last 10 years and most prominent of the last 10 years.
I do see this isn't because rotary is a rare effect to begin with, but the rotary effect I probably see more than Lex on builds is the mini vent. Mini vent 2.
Yeah,
can't
mini
remember the
vent I would
company
say
off
is
the top of my head.
yep. I think that's
that
that's
one
a
comes
legitimate.
up pretty consistently.
Yeah, mini vent is very good. I'm trying to think of other choruses, tremolos, vibratos. Yeah, I think I don't know that it's in this category quite, but I think the VB2W is a great one. I don't know that it's that pervasive, or vibrato as an effect is that pervasive.
VB2W would be the main one I see, though.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That would be.
Yeah,
we talked about tremolo and TR2. I think the Lex certainly, and the ventilator stuff. Trying to think of any other like vibrato, tremolo. Phase 90 has still got to be in the conversation all this time later. I mean, that's still a very prominent effect, or maybe the Eddie Van Halen version, equally with the flanger, the MXR 117 flanger and or Eddie Van Halen version. Those are very, very popular still to this day in the flanger and phaser space.
Paul in the chat has mentioned, and this one comes up on builds for sure, Jam Pedals Ripley Falls. That was released in 2017. Again, not super common, but consistent, I would say. Good call, Paul.
Yeah.
There's other ones I like, but I wouldn't say they're timeless.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm trying to filter my thoughts here.
I know some of these.
Yeah.
Well,
one that I wish, No, sorry.
I could also say in chorus, again, expanding it, Analog Man by chorus has been, I don't know if I'd say it's as popular in the last few years, but certainly it's been on a lot of boards for a long time, that by chorus, which is basically like a 2-speed chorus, analog chorus. Somebody said the CE1, but we don't really see a lot of CE1s. Maybe replicas, but probably not at the same rate that we would see CE2s.
It's kind of in Klon territory, right?
Say that again.
It's in Klon territory. It's hard to come by, so you don't see it, and
they're also huge, and so a lot of people are intimidated by the size of the chorus.
That's more about how you use it. So.
Right. Well, and Grant can tell us, that's. It can be a burden to have a big chorus.
This isn't about me, guys. Let's
yeah. Don't get him started on his dry path, boy. That almost ruined his prom night. Moving on to delays. What are we seeing as far as prominent delays that are still fashionable?
Should we just say timeline and move on?
Timeline. Honestly,
can we just not talk about it?
I mean, DM2 is another one. I feel like I see where a memory man. I see a lot of people. Like, I had one guy who had 2 big box memory mans on a board. I mean, it took up over half the board, but the delays were.
That's
nice.
A lucky guy to have 2 memory mans on his originals, by the sounds of it, or at least
they had
the
AC power cable and everything. They were super original. Yeah, it was.
I wonder if he had the original power strip as well that he bought, way back in the day, to plug in those AC cords. Yeah.
No.
Or memory and bass pedals, but timeless. I mean, again, those are so hard to come by that it's so, at least in my experience, very rare to see. Even DM2s, like I'm looking at my wall over here and I have a DM2W. I was like, I want that to be on the list, but I don't see it in my customers' builds, at least. I don't see the DM2 often at all, but man, it sounds so good. The slapback is awesome.
Yeah.
It's such a great pedal. But
DM2, man. Yeah, if you like the John Mayer Aquapus sound, there's no Aquapus without the DM2. It is ostensibly a DM2 with a true bypass. That's exactly what it is.
Interesting.
Yeah, they are fantastic. I think Carbon Copy is a big one. I think Carbon Copy for sure. I think the DD3 equally is a big one. I would have said DL4, but I think because I think it's its heyday was the last 10 years. The new DL4 has not, doesn't have the same prominence as the original one. I don't think it can be included on that list.
I think I've had it on one build, the MK2.
Yeah.
I
I would also say the Boss DD500 it shows up quite a bit.
For good reason.
Yeah,
What a pedal.
and it is fantastic. You know, I mean, you could put some multi-effects in there that have stuff beyond delay. I kind of don't want to include those because I don't really feel like it's delay specific. It's kind of cheating. I think the Memory Man is great, although, again, it's kind of like what you said with the CE1 or the Klon. It's like there's not a lot of people that are willing to dedicate that amount of real estate to a delay pedal that only does one thing. Let's see. I'm just racking my brain here of other like delays that have sort of withstood the test of time that have been around 10 plus.
Well, with if we put Brian in a category of one, we have the Nova delay.
Yeah,
that has been timeless for Brian.
By myself, just me.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think in its generation, it was kind of one of the few great ones. Somebody even said here DD20. I think equally that was a really great one for its time. You know, predated the timeline. But I think if you had to award it to one, it would be the Timeline is probably the most used digital delay pedal or just delay pedal period in the last 10 years. I think that is in pedalboard context, the most utilized.
Yeah.
I was also going to say, I think I got cut off before, but the L Cap was released in 2010. Yeah. And that has a cult following. That thing is so popular.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say the Timeline is a product of convenience. The L Cap is a product of a quality delay. Like Timeline's quality, don't get me wrong, but it's almost like there's a different factor that comes in with the L Cap and why people use it versus the Timeline. But yeah, that one's also been consistent now with the V2 and MIDI and all that. L Cap has to be in there as well. Strymon is doing something right. Love him or hate him, they're putting out some pretty cool stuff.
Yep.
That
from those humble beginnings in Kingston, Jamaica, as Wikipedia told us.
Strymon.
Yeah. What about reverbs or reverbs, depending on your level of sophistication?
I hate to be a broken record, but you can't skip over Boss when it comes to a good reverb. The RV series, 500, RV 5, 7, 8. Easy to use and sound good enough to pass as if you were in a large room. They do a good job. Yeah.
I think you also got to throw TC Hall of Fame, that whole series, the 1, 2s, and minis. I think that those are very pervasive, and I know a lot of people are detractors from the Hall of Fame series, but they are everywhere. They were pretty ubiquitous still.
Yeah. Someone said Holy Grail. That's another one.
I don't see that very often these days, although it does sound great.
Yeah,
I haven't seen a Holy Grail in a long time.
Again, Ryan Adams was a big user of those, and he was on top of the world 10 years ago, or maybe a little less than that.
Until his fall from grace. Yes.
And he was a big time Holy Grail guy. And I think that his records sound incredible. And the use of reverb is gratuitous and tasteful all at the same time. And that was a big part of it. I think Big Sky could also be definitely part of that conversation, undoubtedly, with Strymon or Blue Sky or Flint. You know, they have multiple effects that could sort of fit into we see them everywhere, and very, very prominent. I kind of feel like that's.
Brian said Stereo Wet earlier, and I would say that was one as well. Yeah, it was. But again, I don't. This is one that's we talked about this last week. It's such a great sounding pedal, but I just don't see them anymore.
Yeah, I think the Immerse 2 kind of had a day, but it just didn't sustain. You know, I think it kind of got overtaken by the Strymons and all that stuff. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I'm missing here as far as the reverb is concerned.
Mercury 7 has been mentioned by Paul. I see a decent amount, not as much recently as well. That's a good call though, as far as a smaller-ish reverb in comparison to Big Sky.
What about the Dark World from Chase Bliss? Would you?
I don't see
guys-
it very often.
I
I don't know
mean,
if you do.
I feel like I did obviously when it first came out, but I think as soon as they found out or they said that it wasn't stereo, they lost a lot of people. Oh, it was I was thinking of this other one. I'm trying to switch on my list. The Empress Reverb. Oh man, what's that number?
Oh, the silver one.
The silver super wide.
That's not
box.
stereo?
That is stereo, but I was sorry. The Dark World from Chase Bliss was not stereo, and at least the first version wasn't. But
I would say the
this
Tonal
one-
Recall also had some of that. I don't know if it made it sustained, but it had like a peak for a few years where they were pretty much everywhere, and then they kind of cooled out.
I feel like that was Chase Bliss. That was kind of like their breakout pedal. It had the branding, it had the name, the analog circuitry, tap tempo.
Yeah.
Like it was what a pedal when that thing came out.
Yeah.
I learned about
Yeah,
him
now it's
through
been
Warped
discontinued
Vinyl,
and-
which I thought was kind
Okay.
of like, which I think was like his version of the Lo-Fi Junkie from Zvex, because I think he was kind of the brain behind that, and then kind of took that idea further. Yeah.
I can't think of
Yeah.
anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was a pretty good list, gents, that was running down timeless pedals. I'm sure that there'll be others that we didn't think of that somebody's going to name in the comments are going to be like, oh man, we were so dumb. We should have thought about whatever this pedal is. And if you're that person, thank you. Thank you. And I want to throw this out there again. This may be too big of an ask. Maybe we're being, just a little too presumptuous in putting this out there. But if there is somebody that would be interested in helping us curate each one of these episodes with timestamps of the things that we talked about, like, so for example, today, maybe you would create a timestamp for when we're talking about timeless overdrives versus timeless boosts versus timeless volume pedals versus timeless reverb, etc., so that we could publish sort of a table of contents for listeners to come back to. We would love to hear from you if you would be interested in doing such things. That would be incredibly helpful for us. And this could be somebody from the Facebook group. This could be somebody who's listening live right now. That's something that you might be interested in doing. You're listening anyway. You just want to take a few notes for kind of places where we have some timestamps for people to reference. That'd be cool. We also wanted to say, please, if you have a moment to review us on Apple, on Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts, join our Facebook group. It is free. It's called Chairmen of the Boards. And there are 1,000+ people there that are interested in all things to do with pedalboard gear, etc. We welcome you to join us. It is free to join. There are no strange questions that you have to answer at this moment. And I think we've only been attacked by a few porn spam bots, and they have swiftly been removed. So for now, it is still a low barrier for entry, and we hope to see you there. Until next time, from me, Mason, Brian, and Grant, we'll see you a little further down the road to Tonetown.
Bye,
See you
guys.